Welcome to Breaking the Barrier, a Western lifestyle podcast highlighting those breaking barriers both in and out of the arena. I'm your host, Rebel Sjeklocha, and today I have the privilege of visiting with someone who truly epitomizes what it means to break barriers and also what it means to be a cowgirl. I'm chatting with Jess Cardon, a PRCA card-holding pickup man, or pickup woman, I should say. Jess, thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So before we dive into your role in the arena today, I'd love to learn about where your love for horses and rodeo comes from.
So I was raised on a cow-calf operation, and my dad is actually a cutting horse trainer. So I grew up in the cutting horse industry. My granddad ran cattle for a long time. My family's and my mom and my family goes back generations running cattle right here in Southern California. And then just slowly kind of kept going towards like the roping end of things. I started competing in roping quite a bit later on, kind of towards high school and a little after high school and college. So I really didn't get into the rodeo side of things until later in life, but the cutting horse industry, I was very big into, the cow horse industry, big into. But yeah, I always had that ranching background too.
Absolutely. So horses have always been a part of your life, and, you know, whether you're in the rodeo capacity or not. When did you decide that picking up was something that you wanted to try?
So I first started trying it like 7 years ago. I was actually at a ranch rodeo. They kind of needed a little extra help, and I was like, well, I could try that. So I like jumped in, kind of started chasing horses around a little bit, and like, I think actually that rodeo, I don't think I even got a single rider. I just, ran around and thought I knew what I was doing, but definitely did not. And then Josh and I kind of went to some practices later on with some high school kids that I knew and stuff, and got a little better at it. And then when Josh and I got together about 6 years ago, I got to get on a lot better horses, way better situations, way better facilities, pick up better horses, that kind of thing. Got to run to a lot of them. And yeah, that's kind of where it really stemmed from, got started.
Absolutely. What would you say, or for those who are unfamiliar, explain what the role of a pickup man is in the arena and some of the things that you had to learn as you stepped into that role?
So pickup man is basically, you're a safety man. You're there to ensure the safety of the riders, the horses, the bulls, really every animal in the whole situation. We've helped steer wrestlers, we've helped calves, calf ropers, that kind of stuff. Like a pickup man is safety, the entire rodeo. You're making sure you see everything. I mean, we go as far as like we check all the gates before we even buck anything or something like that. We just kind of look around and make sure, okay, are we set up for the best possible situation? So yeah, you're basically your safety for everything. You're trying to keep everything moving along because a rodeo is, most performances are only running about 2 to 3 hours. Sometimes a long one might be 4 hours, but so you're trying to keep things moving. Horses come in, go out, same thing with the bulls. Everything's moved quick. We don't want to make any of those animals have to like work any longer than they need to. They have a long year ahead of them. So yeah, that's basically a pickup man.
Absolutely. So you need to be everywhere all the time and on top of it.
So everything before it ever happens.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's lots of different things to consider. Obviously, keeping the production moving, your arena position, your horsepower, all of the things. But from the rodeos you've worked and the people you've observed, what do you think is the most valuable quality that a pickup man or woman can have?
That's a hard one. Well, like your horses are number one. You got to be mounted on good horses. So, cause if you don't have good horses, if you don't ride your horse first, you can't help anybody else. Second is, you have to be ready to go to battle. When you talk to any bronc riders, bull riders, like they are suiting up for a fight for 8 seconds. So it's a, when it's very full contact, very physical. Most horses are flight animals. They're not fight animals. So, we have to have an animal that is ready to go to battle for us. We have to be that way ourselves. Basically, like everything we do, the first thing has to be forward. You cannot back up from anything. So your mindset gets this way, and you have to have that. I'm not scared of anything. I don't care what kind of wreck is going on. I don't care how bad it is and how bad it looks. You have to be the first one there. So that's probably your main quality for a pickup man. And then being able to keep your cool. You have to have a really bad wreck happening and stay cool. You can't run screaming.
Yeah.
So you have to really keep your cool and think through a very big pressured situation in a matter of seconds.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
I'm sure that's something you've developed through practice over the years. Talk us through, starting at that ranch rodeo where you said you really didn't get to jump in that much to now picking up at pro rodeos. What was that progression like, and how has your role changed?
Well, like from there, it was just kind of like fun, and you're bebopping around and think you're doing something, and it's kind of fun. The adrenaline kicks in. It's kind of wild. To now, you start really thinking. You start letting things happen, let things come to you, and you start just out thinking things before you don't get caught chasing. You really try to, save your horses, save things, especially going down the road like we are. We're trying to keep horses sound, trying to keep them feeling good, so you start taking easier shortcuts. But I think things really changed in 2020 for me. When everything pretty much shut down, we were able to actually keep going with the Wild West mini buckers up in Yuba City. And then also we had the Flying U ranch right down the road in Marysville. So we were able to take weekends and go up there and just buck a ton of horses. We were, kids were wanting to get on, people were wanting things to happen, kids and adults. I mean, there was all kinds of guys, just they were wanting to do something in 2020. So I really got to run at a lot of horses, and I got to really change my direction right there. And then in 2021 is when we were like, well, I guess we get my card.
Oh, goodness. So, picking up, it's really important that you have a good partner there with you, someone who can who's on the same wavelength as you are. Talk about the people that you pick up with and some of the things you've learned while working together.
So mostly the main person I pick up with is Josh, which is my fiance. But I also pick up with Bronk Bainline, Danny Leslie, Jeff Shearer, a lot of these guys here in California. And it's very important to know that person, know kind of how they're going to be, like after getting hurt, like those guys know I like to be on my left side now. So like for right now, I mean, just because it's been pretty close to since I've been hurt. So like my knee's still not, it's close. It's 99% good. But there's just things you start to figure out about a guy. Or like, hey, what horse is he on? Is he on a young horse? And then I'll switch up and I'll ride an old horse. And then, hey, if I get on a young horse, then he'll get on an old horse or something like that. So you just you start to figure out where everybody's going to be or kind of how they work. It's very important.
Absolutely. So as you've proven yourself and created these bonds with other pickup men and rodeo committees, have you received any pushback for being a female in this sort of role?
Yeah. Yeah. In a big way. I mean, and not in a big way, not drastic and not horrible. When I first got in the pro rodeo part of it, there was a lot of naysayers, and I'm not gonna lie, for a little bit I thought I can't handle this. I don't want to be in the public eye. I don't want to be that person. But after the article came out of from Brawley in 2021, there was a lot, and it kind of hit the internet, and it really went kind of viral, which was really cool. But then there was some naysayers, and at first it sucked. It was really horrible to think, oh gosh, they're really bashing me and that kind of thing. But then as I got a little further into it, and I made some mistakes at rodeos, I was good, and then like we're not all perfect, but I kind of started showing what I can do, and the tempo changed real quickly. But there are still like a few kind of, maybe older characters, I guess, that yeah, oh man, it's a girl, she shouldn't be out there, she's gonna get hurt. Well, yeah, we're all gonna get hurt. We could get hurt.
That's rodeo.
Yeah, that's rodeo. But and it seems like it's pretty cool, because sometimes there'll be those, and I'm sorry, sometimes older gentlemen that, they'll come up to me after the rodeo and they're like, man, I was wrong. I'm so sorry. You're a cowgirl and you can hold your own. And, that was really nice to hear. But yeah, there was some naysayers. There was even women naysayers, but once I grew out of that a little bit, and it was just kind of like, well, sorry you feel that way, and I'm going to go ahead and do what I do anyway. It got a lot easier, I guess.
Yeah, that's really cool. So when all of those stones were being thrown at you, what was the motivation to keep going and to not just throw in the towel?
I don't really have that mindset. Like I have a pretty superior work ethic, I guess you could say. I've worked really hard to get where I'm at, and that's not just in the pickup thing. It's really not. So I mean, we run cattle here. We're self-made. We weren't handed anything. Like we've really had to work for everything we have. My parents have always been very gracious, but they never bought me much. It was like, all right, hey, you can start earning your own money. Like, you better start paying for stuff. And then, so I always had a pretty superior work ethic. And like I said at first, when the article first came out and I'd read some of the comments, I was like, man, I don't want to do this. I don't want to hear about this. I don't want people to think this about me. And then I thought, yeah, I'm sorry that, your husband doesn't let you do all the cool things or something like that, like, and not that Josh lets me do anything, but because I'm just going to do it if I want to.
That's right.
Yeah. So, I have that mindset of, I can do whatever I want, and I'm going to do whatever I want. Whether it's a smart decision or not. I've had lots of things like that in my life where I made bad decisions. But hey, I owned it. I move on. I learned, and on to the next one.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
I mean, women have always had a strong role in, our ranching heritage and, of course, in rodeo as well. But as we're moving into the future, we're kind of starting to stake more claim at a professional level. Breakaway is growing by the second, it seems like. What are your hopes for women's involvement in rodeo as we look towards the future?
I mean, my hopes are seeing what I've seen and kind of the production side of things. The old saying of behind every great man, there's a woman that works in town, but like maybe not in town, but there's a woman that works behind the scenes everywhere. I don't care what part of production. I don't care what part of, there is always women, and always has been. There's been women bronc riders, back in the 1900s and stuff like that, women have been here forever. It almost feels like for a while we got a little bit suppressed, and then now there's like this new stage of, yeah, hey, we're here, and don't forget about us. But I think a lot of it is it's coming higher and higher, more in the public eye. But as far as women go, I just do what you do. Do what you want to do. And they're there. The strong women are absolutely there. And if you need to talk to one of them, I'm sure they're only a stone's throw away. They're not very far. There's a lot of them.
Certainly. So either in your role in the arena or in the interactions that you have with fans and other personnel, what is the most rewarding part of what you get to do?
Oh boy. Well, I'm kind of selfish, so I get to do what I like, what I like to do. I love picking up. It's so fun. It's such an adrenaline rush. It kind of fits my personality. getting to see the kids, the fans, the people that are just, they know nothing about rodeo, and they come to this rodeo and it's their first time, and they stop you and they ask questions and stuff like that, and getting to talk to them is pretty amazing, you know. And then especially if like some of them kind of want to come back behind the chutes or like behind the back pins or something like that, and it's like you could take them over and, hey, you want to pet a bucking horse? And they're like, what? And it's like, yeah, like they're really gentle, you know, and they get to pet a bucking horse, and they just, you know, and I'm not saying all of them are quite that gentle, but you know, there's a lot of them that are, they're pets. You know, they just like what they do. So that part's pretty amazing. I get to see some amazing athletes, whether they're the bronc riders, bull riders, the horses. I get to watch the horses grow up, the bulls grow up, and go on and do stuff, see their lineage, you know, see the mothers, and then see their kids bucking and stuff like that. That's pretty awesome for me. Even our own horses, you know, I like to see these younger horses that, you know, we actually get a lot of horses that are kind of quote unquote outlaws. You know, somewhere along the line, they probably bucked somebody off, or they weren't working somewhere. Maybe they were a reject of some. I've got like 5 reject barrel horses that are my pickup horses. And so like getting to see that part where, you know, those horses just had to find something, you know, that fit them. It's kind of a lot like myself. Like I found something that fits me.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it's no surprise growing up on cutting horses that you'd want to continue doing something that brings that sort of adrenaline. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So I want to talk more about horsepower. Talk about the horses that you have now, and some of the qualities that make a good pickup horse.
Well, like I said, you have to have something that is ready to go to battle. And like we build a lot of that into them. There's some aspects that we look for. So like we really, you know, when we put a set of horses out in a pen, you know, like we want to find that bully. We kind of want to find that horse that's like a little bit the top dog. You know, he's not just going to run from it. You know, so we're looking kind of, they have a fight or flight instinct. So we're looking for more of that fight instinct, but most horses fight to get away, but we're fighting to stay. And we're not fighting to, you know, to hurt anything or anything like that. Like we're still fighting to just win. And like those horses have to have that mentality of, hey, I'm going to keep my cool, but I'm still bigger than you. Or, you know, and maybe they're technically not bigger than the bucking horse and they're not bigger than the bull, but they just have that, they're very bravo. They're very tough. We let them know they're tough. We let them stay that way. And so, like I said, when I've got some reject barrel horses, you know, or we've got some ex-bucking horses that we ride. So they just kind of have like a different mentality, which that's only a part of it, you know. And then they got to have the athleticism. They got to be fast. They got to, you know, and some aren't real fast sometimes. I've got an ex-bucking horse. He's not very fast, but he works for the Bronx and he's a great bull horse. So like for that kind of stuff, yeah, we look for certain qualities, but honestly, we don't know they're going to make a pickup horse until we run them at one. And then once they kind of like pin their ears and say, yep, this is me, then okay, we're going to make a pickup horse.
Very cool.
Yeah, that's kind of what we look for, but the athleticism and you know, that drive, that want to be that tough guy, that's the big thing.
Trial by fire, I suppose. So there's a lot of physicality involved on your side, and then obviously for the contestants and the horses and, you know, everyone involved in the equation. How do you make sure that you're in the best possible shape to handle the physicality that comes with picking up?
So I work out a little bit. I stretch a lot. You stretch a lot. Try to keep all the limbs, everything, you know, just loosened up. I got hurt back in September. I got kicked in the knee or in the leg, which broke my tibia, tore my PCL, my LCL, and my meniscus. So I had full knee surgery in October. And going from that, we weren't exactly sure after the reconstruction because I didn't have a total knee replacement. I would have been perfect candidate for it, but I was 31 years old. So they didn't want to do that. So going with waiting on ligaments to heal, they had to put in different ligaments and that kind of stuff. We weren't sure exactly when I got to return. Well, I got to come back in May. But when I came back in May, I was also going to physical therapy 2 to 3 times a week. But my body came back in better condition than when I went out. And so like I really understood the difference of trying to keep my body in good shape. Like I'm a very active person anyway on the ranch. We're always doing stuff, moving hay, fixing water lines, doing stuff like that. So like everything's pretty physical anyway. But I definitely try to keep my body as in shape as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you look towards the future, what are some goals that you have? Are there any specific rodeos you'd like to pick up at, or just some skills that you'd like to hone in on?
I mean, I'd like to go to the big shows. I'd like to go to the really big shows. You know, I get to go to Brawley Cattle Call and I get to go to Santa Maria, and, you know, some of these bigger rodeos in California. So branching out into other states would be really cool at some point. As we continue, you know, with both Josh and I picking up, the amount of horses that we have to have is kind of insane. People would really cringe at our feed bill, that's for sure. So like as I look towards the future, we're just trying to add horses to our sets so that you know, everybody stays sound, everybody stays happy, and then just get to go to quite as many as I can. I'm only going to have so long that I get to do this until my body probably starts to fail a little bit. But I do want to go to some bigger ones. But I mean, I have ideas, but it would be fun to go to some pretty big ones. And it's shaping up. I think that I'm going to get to go to some bigger ones. So I'm hoping, I'm going to fingers cross it.
Most definitely. So a good pickup man ensures the longevity of both the cowboy, of course, and of the animal athletes. I know, especially in California, you're dealing with some challenges with animal rights activists and all of those things. But in your role, you specifically are really making an effort to ensure that these athletes are well taken care of and don't have to work harder than they need to. Talk about the care and the athleticism of these animals.
Oh, they're just a different breed. You know, the horses, the bulls, all of it. And, you know, modern medicine has allowed for some really cool things. You know, we can control inflammation. We can help with a lot of things, even on bucking horses, on bulls, stuff like that. So, you know, and in California, yeah, we do face some of these issues because something's still going to happen. With anything, it's rodeo. When they're giving it their absolute all, the power and what's happening and the snapping and like just the pure power coming from these animals, and they're so big. I mean, we're talking bucking horses that are 13 to 1,600 pounds. You know, they're huge. So, you know, trying to keep the longevity of these horses and not horses and bulls. I like the horses. You know, I like bulls too. But, trying to keep the longevity of them as far as not bucking them too early, or maybe bucking them a little bit just to kind of like get their bodies in tune with it, making sure they're in good shape, you know, good physical condition. How do you take a horse that's in a pasture and like make sure he's in good physical condition? They have to exercise too. So like that has a lot to do with what, you know, going down the road and stuff like that. And then, hey, the going down the road part, they're standing on a truck trailer for maybe, you know, anywhere from 3 to 8 hours, maybe 10 hours, you know, and that wears on them. They get tired. So, you know, in the back pens, even pickup men, we have a lot to do with sorting the horses, all the care, feeding, watering, all that kind of stuff. So we're constantly watching those animals as far as, hey, does he look off today? Does something not look right? Do we need to pull him out of the draw? Do we need to, move him around? Do we need to do something to where, we don't have those issues? But it still, unfortunately, some things do happen. And so then, with the role of the pickup man in the arena, being able to and being ready for when something like that happens, to make it as quick and easy a process as possible, getting that animal out of the arena safely and easily as possible. Like I said, I mean, that all comes into the equation, but, as far as these animals, the day-to-day care, it's amazing what we can do to keep them sound and happy and giving everything that they give. But, also understanding when it's not his day is off today. And so knowing when to make that call is a big deal.
Certainly. I think one of the coolest things about getting to visit with people in all facets of rodeo is just the different roles that they play in ensuring that the animal athletes are well taken care of. And I think your role is no exception, certainly. I mean, whether you're playing peewee football or you're riding a bucking horse, there's going to be injuries from time to time. So it's cool to hear how you contribute to that. I would love to know, when you arrive at a rodeo and are getting ready to pick up, what does your routine look like, whether you're preparing yourself or your horses?
Well, depends on kind of where we're at, I guess, if we're there for, a couple days, or if we're just there for a 1 day or something like that, or 2 days. Obviously we pull in, find where we get to park, get all the horses off the trailer, water everything. Usually we'll hang a bucket of cubes or something and let horses eat. Our horses get free feed. Like I said, we like them feeling like King Kong, so they get to eat all the time. Then we'll go ahead, find out kind of what our numbers are as far as who turned out or something like that. Get horses and bulls sorted up in the back pens. Probably wash our horses off, try to make sure everything's clean and nice and ready to go for the show, because it's still a show. And then we'll start saddling. Usually most pickup men, you're going to need 3 to 6 horses a piece. So you got to have 3 sets of everything, 3 to 6 sets of everything, saddles, bridles, boots, all of it. Get all that stuff ready to go. And then make sure our ropes are all ready. Whether, we'll have certain sets of bull ropes, we'll have ropes for our bareback horses, which are usually shorter, softer kind of stuff we can really get a hold of fast. Get, if depending on bulls, how many sets there are or something like that, we'll get ropes hung over where they belong. Go back, just kind of make sure everything's ready, and then put our shin guards on, whatever else, get ourselves dressed, because usually we have a rodeo shirt, and then get our chaps and go start trotting horses around or something like that and get everything loosened up, bridle everything. It happens super fast. So, there's really not time to go, mess around and go bridle another horse. Like, you're usually just tying something up either by the bridle reins or sliding the halter over the bridle, and off you go on the next one. If you have to switch in between, if there's 10 bareback riders or something like that, and you have to switch in between, try to find somebody that that can have horses held cinches tight, ready to go at the gate, just so you can switch really fast and it never holds anything up. But yeah, it's just mostly consists of sorting animals and saddling and unsaddling
in a very fast-paced way. Oh gosh.
In a very fast, it's all super slow right up until it's until it's go time. 10 minutes before the rodeo, then it's just it's like a blur. It just flies through.
Hurry up and wait.
But yeah.
So you mentioned earlier
that
a pickup man really has to be someone who can be calm in a crisis situation. How have you developed that sort of mental toughness, or what goes through your mind when a cowboy might be hung up or things start to go south?
well, what goes through my mind and what comes out of my mouth are two different things.
Well, the good thing is no one can really hear you in the arena. I would imagine.
Yeah, but it's usually an oh shoot, but something else. But but no, you kind of learn to slow the situation down. You start to think like, all right, where do I need to be? You start to hone in these skills of reading animals is what we call it. And like knowing which lead a horse is on when he's bucking across the arena, or that'll give you a pretty good indication of which direction he's going. Same with the bulls. If somebody's hung up, bullfighter gets down underneath him and you know which direction he might go or which lead he might switch to or something like that. That helps. A lot of it's just doing it. It's working with big animals. It's in a lot of ranch situations too. I've learned a lot of things that help, like when we brand calves, when we doctor, when we do things outside. When I work with, 200 head of animals, at one time, trying to get them all to do the same thing, that helps a lot in the arena too, where you're like, okay, how am I going to set myself up to make this animal do exactly what I want him to do? Mm-hmm. And hey, when it doesn't work, the backup plan, so that mental, trying to slow things down and then understanding where the animal's going next, or knowing the wreck is coming before it happens, that takes time. It takes a lot of time. It takes, maybe messing things up, maybe seeing videos, maybe, being in that situation at some point. I remember at Brawley, I saw a guy, he was hung up, or he was hanging up, and I was already going to him. And that horse kicked over my horse's butt, and she went down on her front end. Luckily, he fell into his hand and he came out. And at first I was mortified. I was like, oh my gosh, I totally ruined the whole thing, the whole deal, because it was at like 6 seconds or something like that. And I had already gone to him. And one of the judges came up to me afterwards. He's like, no, you saved his butt because he was hung up. But at first I was just mortified. I was absolutely mortified. But it's getting into those situations and then understanding what can happen, or where, especially my biggest thing is noticed in the PRCA, like you're dealing with grown men that are doing something for a living, so, and they understand what can happen. So like you kind of have to let them hang up and then go get them, or you got to know what that exact fine line of, are they hung up and they can't recover, or are they hung up and they are going to recover? Mm-hmm. So trying to figure out that fine line has been, I'm not going to say a difficult thing, but it's been very different. And so just looking at videos, talking to pickup men, talking to other people, hey, when you make a mistake, go talk to somebody, go figure mm-hmm. out why that happened, or, how can I do it better next time?
Yeah, I'm sure
that has been.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm sure gut instincts have a lot to do with when you decide to take action on something.
There's a lot that has to do with almost, knee-jerk reactions. Like you're either that person or you're not. You either have it or you don't. When I was at the mini buckers in 2020, I think I do remember to this day it was only a couple years ago, so I should remember it, but there was a horse we ran in that jumped over the back fence, and they brought her back the next day or something. We're going to buck her again. And I sat at the back because I knew that was the one spot she'd already jumped over once. So I sat back there, and Jeff yelled at me from down. He says, "Jess, don't weaken." And I'm like, okay, like don't weaken. And I didn't. I stayed there, and she sure enough jumped into my horse, onto my horse's butt, and like I kind of just went ahead and like rode out to like get her to follow me, and she did. So she didn't jump over the fence that time, but she jumped into my horse like she was going over the fence again. So it takes like that certain, and I remember Jeff yelling, he goes, that is the toughest woman. Like, he said she wasn't going to back down. And I was just like, I was told I had to stay there.
Like, you told me what to do. No, that's funny.
It's just that certain person that's like, hey, I have to, otherwise somebody or something could get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And if it was me, that's better me to get hurt than them. And it takes that mindset to be a pickup man, because you're not thinking of yourself. You can't. Mm-hmm. You have to think of the rider, the horse, and then yourself.
Absolutely.
In that order.
In that order. Well, gosh, I could just ask you questions all day, but I want to be respectful of your time. Is there anything that we haven't covered that you'd like people to know?
Oh, goodness. I'm just going to say the work ethic. I know there's been some people and women that have like messaged me on Instagram, Facebook, that kind of stuff. And they're like, hey, how do I get into pickup man or, being a pickup man? And I'm like, just work at it, work hard, go to your rodeos, go try to find a stock contractor that, and go fill water buckets, go feed animals, go, do the work that it takes, not just show up and say, hey, I want to be a pickup man, because they're not going to let you just be a pickup man right off the bat. They might.
There's a few prereqs.
Yeah, like you definitely have to have a little bit of, you got to have the horses for one, and then you're putting somebody's life at stake. So, make sure you're absolutely positive that, you're not going to hurt somebody. But as far as, the work ethic, and that goes for anything, if you want to show up, if somebody shows up or calls me and says, hey, I want to come to work. Well, okay, great. What's your schedule? And then they say, well, just text me when you're working. And it's like, I work every day,
Mm-hmm.
But if you show up here at 5:30 in the morning with a horse saddled, I'm going to find us some cowboy stuff.
Oh, awesome.
So, that's showing up, just kind of saying, hey, waiting for somebody to text you or call you, it's not going to work. You have to go get it, go talk
Mm-hmm.
to people, go figure out what you can do. And you're going to have to do bad jobs that nobody else wants to do, or, just try to help out and try to, pick up some slack so that, those people feel like, all right, this is worth my time. And that's a big thing to me, is the work ethic and showing up, be part of it and be in it.
Most definitely.
So, I don't know. I think that's, yeah.
Awesome. Well, Jess, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been such a fun conversation. I quite literally could probably ask you questions until evening, but thanks for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Well, once again, that was Jess Cardon, PRCA card-holding pickup woman and trailblazer in the rodeo industry. As a reminder, you can find all previous episodes of Breaking the Barrier on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and new episodes in Season 3 are being released every other Tuesday. Thanks so much to the Rural Radio Network for the use of their studio in recording this podcast, and thank you for tuning in. Support for Breaking the Barrier in today's episode is brought to you by the Nebraska Rural Radio Association. With 15 stations across the heartland, they are your go-to source for all things rural and agricultural. Whether you're a farmer, rancher, or just love the rural lifestyle, tune into one of the Nebraska Rural Radio Association stations for entertainment, news, and expert insights. Visit ruralradio.com to find a station near you.